Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in. What happens when the very people who are sworn to protect you are accused of protecting criminals instead? It's a crazy thought, right? Well, today we are digging into an absolutely explosive testimony from a top police general. He's alleging a massive conspiracy to shut down an elite unit just because they got a little too close to the truth.
So, there can never be peace between a criminal and a policeman. I mean, wow, those are some heavy words, right? They come from Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And you got to understand, this wasn't just some throwaway line for the news. No. This was basically a declaration of war against what he claims is corruption rotting the very top of law enforcement.
So you have to ask yourself, what would push a top general to put his entire career on the line like this? I mean, to go public? Well, his testimony all points to one thing: the sudden and totally bizarre shutdown of a police unit that was, by all accounts, incredibly successful. It's a story that starts with amazing success, but you won't believe this, it ends with a top-secret government letter somehow ending up in the hands of a crime suspect.
Okay, so first things first, we need to talk about the unit that's right in the middle of this whole mess. It's called the Political Killings Task Team, or, you'll hear me say this a lot, the PKTT.
So this team, the PKTT, was put together back in 2018. And it wasn't just some local precinct thing. This came from a presidential mandate. Their job? To stop this huge wave of political assassinations that was hitting the province of Kwa-Zulu, Natal pretty hard. And listen, this wasn't your average police unit. Think of it more like an all-star team. It was this powerhouse group with cops, prosecutors, even state security agents all working together.
Okay, so how good were they? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. According to the general statement, the PKT wasn't just good, they were an absolute game changer. Especially because they were working on cases that are famously difficult to solve. And honestly, the numbers, well, they speak for themselves. Let's take a look.
First up, 401. That's the number of arrests they made. And these aren't just any arrests. We're talking about organized political hits. These are some of the toughest cases to crack. To get 401 arrests shows they were seriously good at getting inside these complex criminal networks.
But you know, arrests are one thing. Convictions are what really matter. And the team secured 34 life sentences, not just for the hitmen, but for the people who hired them. That's huge. It means they weren't just catching the bad guys. They were making sure they stayed locked up for good.
And on top of that, they got 55 firearms off the streets. And get this, ballistics tests actually linked a bunch of those guns to a whole web of other violent crimes. So every gun they took was like solving pieces of multiple puzzles at once.
So this all leads back to that big glaring question, right? Why in the world would you disband a team that's getting these kinds of results? It just doesn't make sense. Well, General Mkhwanazi claims the reason isn't about police strategy or budget cuts. Nope, he says it's all about politics and one specific investigation that flew a little too close to the sun.
And the whole thing apparently started not in the PKT's own backyard, but with an operation they were asked to help with way over in another province, Gauteng.
So 10 of the PKTT's best people, we're talking their top specialists in things like forensics and digital analysis, they get sent to help out on this counterintelligence op. The target? A major organized crime syndicate. And a key person of interest in that investigation was a guy named Sibusiso Nhlanhla. Then, on December 6, 2024, the team raids his property.
Okay, so pay close attention here. Because what happened after that raid, that's the absolute bombshell at the heart of this entire testimony. A chain of events starts, and it happens so fast, it's pretty hard to believe it's all just a coincidence. It really looks like there's a direct line between that one single investigation and the fate of the whole PKTT.
I mean, look at this timeline. It's just wild. December 6th, they raid Nhlanhla's property. Then, just 25 days later, on New Year's Eve of all days, the Minister of Police signs a letter to disband the team that helped with that raid. But wait, it gets crazier. The very next day, an associate of the minister sends a WhatsApp message to the suspect, Nhlanhla. And the day after that, he sends Nhlanhla a picture of the official, confidential government letter. This right here is what the general's team calls the smoking gun. It's a WhatsApp message pulled right from the suspect, Nhlanhla's phone. And it's from a guy named Brown Magoltsi, who is identified as being an associate of the minister. He's not just sharing info, he's basically saying, hey, that problem you had, we took care of it for you.
And it doesn't stop there. The conversation keeps going. Mkhwanazi then allegedly tells Nhlanhla that all of the team's case files, all their open investigations, are being sent to one specific senior police official. Think about that for a second. This is inside operational police business, information that a crime suspect should never, ever, ever be hearing about.
So you see how these messages just completely change the game? This stops being about some strange, maybe questionable policy decision and turns into what the general claims is a crystal clear case of political interference. Interference that he says was designed for one reason and one reason only, to protect a criminal suspect.
Let's just map this out, because it's like a cast of characters in a movie. So you've got the crime suspect, Nhlanhla. Then there's the minister's associate, Mkhwanazi, who seems to be the messenger, the go-between. Then you have the Minister of Police himself, the one who signs the disbandment order, and who, according to the testimony, later denies even knowing Mkhwanazi. And to top it off, you have the specific senior cop who was supposed to get all the case files. It's quite a web.
And this is the really scary part. For General Mkhwanazi, this isn't just about one bad guy or one disbanded team. He's saying this is a symptom of a much, much bigger disease. He claims this is proof of a pattern. A pattern where powerful criminal syndicates can actually pull strings in government to shut down the very people who are trying to bring them to justice.
So, all of these allegations, this entire testimony, it's all kicked off a huge national inquiry. And it leaves us with some really uncomfortable questions, doesn't it? I mean, it forces you to think, if the lines between the cops and the criminals start to get blurry, who's actually being protected? And who's really in charge?